am waiting for that connection for StreamYard. So we're on StreamYard as well. So hello, everyone. This is Dr. Kamani, licensed psychologist. Thank you for tuning in for the kickoff of the Black Women We Deserve Joy free 5-day challenge. And just like before, we have Afroflow Yoga here with us again today to kick it off. So we're going to talk a little bit about joy and the importance of joy. We're going to ground ourselves in breath and talk about the importance of breathing. And again, we're talking about free activities because many times, as Black women, we're so busy. We say, oh, we don't have the time. I don't have the time, or I don't have the money. I don't have the energy to do joyful things. And we're going to dispel that. Okay. So also want to let you know that I'll be sharing. So for each 5 days, I'll be coming on live for just bite-sized nuggets, of joy in terms of how you can reconnect to your joy, and it's all free, okay? And then on Friday, I have a very special guest. I'm going to be sharing more information with you on Friday. So please register for the challenge. I have the link in the comments section. Please share with other Black women because we all deserve joy. And I've also put information for Afroflow Yoga in the chat section as well. So I'm going to get started with introducing Gina from Afroflow Yoga. She's one of our Afroflow Yoga teachers. And then Leslie Salmon Jones will be joining us as well. So Gina, I turn it over to you for introductions.
Hello, everyone. I'm Gina, licensed clinical social worker in New York and Connecticut, as well as a Afroflow yoga teacher. Um, that's my introduction for today.
Okay, thank you, thank you. We're going to all sing "Get Well Soon" wishes to Gina. She's not feeling too well today, and I just want to thank her again for taking the time out today, especially when you're not feeling well. So thank you so much. Yeah. So as we're waiting for Leslie to come too, and we'll have her introduce herself when she logs on. But Gina, I'm wondering if we can start. We started last time with breath work. And I'm wondering if you could share with audience just a little bit in terms of why is breath work so important?
So I like to share this, like in terms of our bodies being able to. Hey, Leslie.
Hi.
Actually, let me shift and have Leslie introduce herself right quick, and then we'll go to you again, Gina, with breath work. Hello, Leslie. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing well. I'm happy to be here to join you two.
We're happy to see you. So we just started
Good.
off with introduction. So if you could just briefly introduce yourself, and then Gina was starting to talk about breath work and why it's so important, and then we'll continue that conversation.
Great. Thanks. Hi, everyone. Hello, everyone who's tuning in. My name's Leslie Salmon Jones. I am the co founder of Afroflow Yoga, which is a combination of yoga, dance, and live music. And I am co founder with my wonderful husband, Jeff Jones. And I'm logging in today from Toronto, Canada. I'm in the house that I grew up in. So I'm really grateful to be here with you all.
Awesome. Thank you, Leslie. Okay, Gina, if you could share a little bit more about breath and why it's so important for us to connect to our breath.
Why it's so important. So our bodies can survive for a while without a few things. Like we can go a few days or a while without food. We can go without sleep for a while. We can go without, say water for a while, but oxygen is something that we can't go without. So it's like this thing that we're doing so unconsciously every single day, but not something that I would say that it's often missed that this is something that we need, and also something that can serve as an anchor as you're dealing with the day-to-day struggles of life.
Hmm. Hmm. And I'm wondering if we can start our time together and invite the audience to engage in our activity in relation to connecting to our breath.
So today we can do so for those who like to visualize while breathing, we can visualize that we're breathing in a box. So as you visualize this box, you'll breathe in 4 times. You'll exhale the count of 4. So you'll breathe in to the count of 4, exhale the count of 4, breathe in, count of 4, exhale, count of 4. And for those of us who are not big on visualizations, but just want to connect to our breath and maybe just bringing your focus to how you're breathing, we're just going to breathe in for, and keep that count of 4 in, and try to keep the breath steady. You don't have to breathe in so deep. You don't have to do anything special. You're really just bringing your attention to your anchor, to that life force energy that feeds you. Sometimes I like to count, sometimes I don't. I'll start off with a count and then I'll let you count on your own. Deal? Okay. So finding yourself in a comfortable seat, I do encourage you to sit up nice and tall, kind of elongate your spine, almost as if there's something pulling you up from the crown of your head. Relax your shoulders, maybe ground your feet onto the earth or whatever you're connected to. If it's the seat, just take a moment to pause and realize what you're connected to. And then if you want, you can soften your gaze by looking down, or you can just close your eyes, either or. We're going to take that breath in to the count of 4, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. And now keep it going on your own, at your own pace. And finding freedom here, deepening the breath if you want, slowing it down if you want. But there's room to do what feels right for you. Maybe parting the lips on your exhale and breathing out the mouth. Bringing your focus back to where you're sitting, where you're positioned. Maybe opening the eyes. And realizing that you can do this whenever it's needed. Sometimes I think folks think meditation always has to be in a specific place, in a specific way. But knowing that this is still available to you at work when you are upset, if you're feeling overwhelmed with family, friends, feeling overwhelmed in life in general, but knowing that you could take a moment to pause, and it doesn't have to be in a secluded area up in a hill somewhere, and feeling like meditation only looks one specific way.
Thank you, Gina. That was so calming. And I think that for many of us, we're always so busy running around thinking about all these different things. But the importance of really taking a moment to pause is so important and so healing. And the importance of breath, because many of us, as we're running around, we forget to breathe sometimes, right? We forget to fully breathe, fully exhale. And so we're really taking this time to really center the importance of our joy and why it's so important for Black women to reconnect to our joy. So I'm wondering for both of you, what are some barriers that maybe you've heard from other Black women or even that you've experienced yourself in terms of barriers to connecting to joy?
I'll say, first of all, Gina, thank you so much for that beautiful centering grounding practice. It's always great to be reminded of the breath and the portability of the breath. So I would say that one of the things that makes it challenging that I hear and that I've experienced to connect to joy is feeling worthy. Actually claiming that joy. Sometimes if we're around people who are experiencing challenges, a lot of pain, or ourselves, our family members who are experiencing pain. The idea of wanting to be joyful or even showing joy,
Mm.
expressing joy in those situations might not feel appropriate
Yeah,
or might not feel worthy of that
yeah,
when
yeah.
our loved ones are going through so much.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And when we show joy, it's not that we are discounting their experience, right? And so, how do we empathize with others, but also how do we experience joy in our lives as well so that we don't get burdened down with so much of what's going on around us, which is really hard, but very important. Yes, thank you, Leslie.
Yeah.
What about for you, Gina?
I would say kind of a acceptance that life has been hard and there's nothing to feel joyful about. Like these experiences have outweighed my 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 will to like really live. Like I'm here for this time and I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to stick out my time, but there's been so much trauma that I've accepted there is no joy in life. So I
Wow.
would say it's a combination of maybe depression and living in
Yeah.
that space of so much trauma has happened that there's no reason to seek joy. And then
Yeah.
sometimes that living so far in the future and living in that space of anxiety about what can happen
Mm-hmm.
that it robs you of the will to seek joy and then
Yeah.
also just being in the present.
Yeah, yeah. So that's something we're going to be talking about during the challenge too, are like joy robbers, right? So when we think about the society that we live in, as Black people, there's so much negativity, there's so much trauma that we are continually exposed to. And so sometimes it might feel like, well, there's too much going on for me to experience joy, or there, like, do you see like how much we have to go through? Like, we don't have time for joy. We got to fight. We have to do this. We have to, and I'm not discounting that either, right? That there's a lot that we have on our plates, right? But we also need to find those moments, of connection. And how do we connect so we can keep going? But how do we connect also so that we build community with one another? And sometimes we're so exhausted because we are not connected to that, right? And we also need to recognize that our conditions don't define who we are. They define our situation, but it doesn't define who I am, Kamani, who you are, Gina, who you are, Leslie, right? And so I know that for myself, particularly in my clinical practice, I've heard a lot of Black women say they don't have the time, they don't have the energy, they don't have the money for themselves or
Yeah.
to do anything that's fun. Or if I even ask them in a session, what kind of things do you do for fun? They don't know what to say because it's
What
been so long.
what fun.
Yeah, right.
We
What is that?
have
What
to
is
do. We have
that?
a
Like,
long list of to-dos. There's fun is
yes,
not on the list.
it's not there. It's not there. And I think it's important for us to have these conversations so that we really highlight to Black women that, joy is accessible to all of us. And it doesn't have to take 10 hours, right? Or it doesn't have to cost a lot of money, just like you demonstrated for us, Gina, that we can have those bite-sized moments of joy. So I'm wondering if you could share with the audience, both of you can share, what are some bite-sized nuggets of joy that you can share with Black women that they can access easily and it's free.
Yeah. So I would say that, I've been really fortunate to grow up with a mother who understands the balance of self care and filling her well before helping others. And my mom has been a human rights activist, civil rights activist, women's rights activist. Really has given her a life of service to the community, and she has taught me to always fill my well so I'm not working from a place of depletion.
Hmm.
So, one of the things I've learned, and particularly when I was in my early 20s, going out on my own, was to really do a deep dive investigation of what brought me joy.
Hmm.
And what I've learned from that is to always follow my heart. My head sometimes does not lead me in a place of joy. My head might tell me to have the to-do list and 5,000 things.
Yeah.
Right.
The heart, however, might say, you know what? Go sit outside and get some sunshine, or go take a dance class, or, eat something that brings you joy, or, wear something. My heart will always, always bring me to a place of joy. So I've learned to listen to my heart.
Yes, yes, yes. And as you said, you have to fill your well. So we keep giving, 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 and we're not replenishing anything. And how do we stay true to ourselves by being joyful and connecting to that joyful part of us? And that doesn't mean we're betraying somebody else if we're joyful, right? Thank you, Leslie. What about for you, Gina?
I would go along the same lines, but I would add that it's to commit to joy being something that you practice daily. Like Leslie mentioned, it is the outfit that makes you feel great, which doesn't take a lot of time and money. It's already in your closet. Sometimes we're still saving that outfit for a specific event and we can't wait, but put it on because it's going to make you happy in that moment. Like Leslie said, choosing what you're going to eat and being able to find joy in eating something that's pleasing to you. So I would say just that, having that commitment and not thinking it's so grandiose. It doesn't have to be a trip to the Caribbean somewhere. It doesn't have to be this grandiose thing, but it could be these daily things that we incorporate, and just being committed because we know we have to fill our well
Yes.
before we do anything else.
Yes, yes, yes. And I found a lot of joy in gardening. And I've started doing that a lot more. And just connecting to the earth is just therapeutic already. But also, I found a sense of joy that I'm able to do things that my ancestors were not able to do, right? So they weren't able to own land. They weren't able to, grow things that they wanted to grow and really have, that connection. And so that's joyful to me too. So there's different ways you can have joy. You guys talked about going out in the sun, wearing your favorite outfit, eating something that's good, right? So there's all these different ways. And so what would be the exact language that you would say to a Black woman, like my client, if I had a client and they said, I don't have time for that. I got too much other stuff to do. I don't have time for that. What would you say to them? What would be the language that you would use to say to them?
I would say that you actually, time is actually an illusion in a sense, because when we are operating from that place of depletion, it becomes like we can't quite catch up to ourselves. So what I've found is there's spaciousness and power in stillness and slowing down. And once I actually can slow down, I actually have more energy to be present and to the moment. So to bring more quality to my life. There's something called energy management as opposed to time management. And there's only 24 hours in a day, 7 days a week. So that's limited. In that 24 hours, 7 days a week, you can do it from a place of depletion. And you're not going to feel fulfilled because you're going to be so depleted.
Yeah.
But there's energy management. So if you can actually manage your energy, then you get much more quality out of your life. So taking that breath that Gina taught us, that just slowing it down will actually help, as we talked about, replenish to give you much more quality of life and much more time to find the joy, because you're not trying to, fall asleep every 5 minutes.
Right. You're not exhausted all the time, right?
Yeah.
I love that. I'm gonna put that in the chat. Energy management.
I like that.
Yeah.
I did not make that up.
Oh,
there's an actual book on it.
Okay.
And it's, well, if you just Google energy management, it'll come to me probably by the end of this. But I read it years and years, like a couple decades ago. So, but it really has helped me manage my.
Yes, so important for us to do that. So important. What about for you, Gina? What would you say to, let's say, a hypothetical client who said, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for the money or nothing else for that. What
I'm
would you
very
say?
much like, all right, well, what you got time for? And then we could stare at each other. Tell me what you got time for. Sometimes they're like, what do you mean? So if you don't have time for this, tell me how you're spending your time.
Yeah.
And then sometimes they'll answer in terms of, okay, well, I got work. Okay, well, that's the 8 hours out of the 24 hours that we're looking at. Okay, what about the rest? And you we'll go through, and then sometimes it's like, all right, whatever. Okay, I could do 30 minutes of this activity that I enjoy, but
Right.
my approach. What do you have time for then? If
Yes, I love that. I love to. So energy management and what do you have time for? Really breaking down your day, right? And really be cognizant of how much energy we're expending on all these different things, right? And for me, when I do have situations in my clinical practice where somebody will say, I don't have time for it, or I don't know what gives me joy, I'll ask them, well, when you were a little girl, remember what you used to like to do? Like what used to make you just so happy? You'd have like those belly laughs and they're able to connect to that time that, wow, I used to be really joyful as a child, right? In a sense of missing that because we have these roles that we play in our lives. And sometimes we feel like we don't have the time because we have to do all these things for so many people, right? And so the encouragement is that we do connect to our joy. And my hope is that everyone here is participating in the 5 day challenge. Black women, we deserve joy, and that you will also share this with other Black women because, our sisters, we're all struggling, right? And we know that research is showing us that as Black women, that we're actually dying at younger ages because of the stress that we're experiencing. And many times we don't know what to do with that stress, right? And so it's important for us to kind of regroup. So as we are winding down, we started with breath and we're going to close with breath, right? So I'm going to turn it over to Leslie to guide us through a breathing exercise as we start winding down for today.
Great. Thank you so much. So, that deep belly breathing is really a wonderful way to regulate your breath. I just want to talk a little bit more about the breath. The inhalation, we have the parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system. And so the practice of breath, when we inhale, we're actually stimulating the sympathetic nervous system, which is the energy that gives you energy and life. And when we exhale, it stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system where we calm down. So sometimes what I'd like to say is like if someone is feeling really anxious and their breath is like speeding up,
Mm-hmm.
if you take some nice deep exhales, you can actually calm yourself down. If you're feeling tired, on the other hand, and you need a little more energy, you want take that inhalation. And then if you want to just balance both the parasympathetic and the sympathetic is when, just like Gina had us do, is to take some nice deep breaths. So I also say with breath work, there's the alternate nostril breathing, which is an exercise I do every day in the morning when I wake up. It's a little longer to teach, so I'm going to do a variation of that. And it actually works on the left side of the brain, and the right side of the brain balances the right and left side of the brain. So, and again, we have the creative side of the brain, and we also have the logistical side of the brain. So this can help balance as well as the nervous system. So I invite everyone to sit in a comfortable position. It's really important when you're working on your breath is that when you're grounded and rooted to the floor. So you want to feel your feet. Try not to, unless you're sitting in easy pose, like sitting on your sit bones with your legs crossed. If you're sitting on a chair, I'd encourage you to uncross your legs so you can keep the flow going. And I like to imagine I'm breathing beyond my body, from the sky down through the earth. If that's helpful for you, through the body, that circular breath. So we'll begin by taking the right hand and then closing the right nostril. You can take your gaze inward, or you can close your eyes or look down at your tip of your nose. And we're going to start with an exhalation so we can relax. So think of exhaling out of that left side of the nostril. And then inhale through the left side. We're going to do 8 rounds. So that's 1. Exhale. And inhale for 2. And as you exhale, think of releasing whatever's not serving you. Empty your lungs and then inhale and fill. Exhale. And inhale. 4 more breaths. Exhale. Inhale. 3 more breaths. Exhale. And inhale. 2. Exhale. And inhale. 1 more breath. Exhale. And inhale. Release. Take a moment and then we'll do the other side. 8 rounds. Cover, close the left nostril, exhale to the right. And inhale. Exhale. Inhale. X. In. Exhale, relax. Inhale. 4 more rounds. Exhale. Inhale. X. And in. Last 2. Exhale. And in. Last one. Exhale. And then inhale. Release. Let's take one last exhale out of both nostrils. Just notice how you feel. Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie. That was so calming. I feel much calmer, right? And I wonder, if sometimes we as Black women don't recognize we're kind of disconnected from ourselves because we're doing all these things so many times, so many things that we're doing in one day, right? And so I'm wondering if um something that we can offer, to Black women is helping us to recognize the degree of joy we're experiencing on a daily basis, right? And so that's what I'm going to invite all of you to do for the first day of the challenge is to really monitor your level of joy on a scale from 1 to 10 for the whole 5 days of this challenge, right? So 1 is I'm feeling not that much joy. To 10, I'm like on fire, right? I'm like so joyful. And so my hope is that the more we're aware of our joy level, that we can say, you know what? There are certain things I do during the day that do bring me joy. Or you know what? I've been at like a 2 all week. Maybe there's other things that I can do to start incorporating that into my life. So my invitation to all of you for the challenge is that you will keep track of where you are in terms of your, I call it a joy meter. So where you are on a scale from 1 to 10, 1 is low, 10 is high. So where you are on a scale from 1 to 10, for these next 4 days, okay? And I'll be coming on live. So I'm wondering, I see in the chat that people are asking about Afroflow yoga. So Leslie, can you share a little bit more, and Gina as well, because I know you both are Afroflow yoga teachers. I'm in training, hope to be there soon. So if you could just share a little bit about Afroflow yoga and how is Afroflow yoga different than what most people know about yoga?
Sure. Gina, do you want to take it?
I was gonna let the queen take it. This is your baby, but I can.
Sure.
What makes it different?
Yeah.
Is one of the questions.
Yeah. Like what drew you to Afroflow yoga, or what and keeps you there?
What drew me to yoga, to Afroflow yoga? I was purposely looking for spaces where there were more people that looked like me. I was wondering if there was a space where yoga and some kind of Afrocentricism meet. And in Googling one day, I came across Afroflow yoga, and I took a class, and the live music, the drumming, sometimes they play with other instruments like the kalimba, just all these sounds that were really soothing to my spirit. So there was one component. I love to dance to live drumming, so that was the second one. And then there was yoga, and I felt rejuvenated. I felt comforted. I felt healed after leaving class. So I'm still here many years later, and then decided to deepen my practice because this space um, this space really exceeded my expectations. I've never attended a yoga class that way, that was set up that way, that was structured that way. I never attended a yoga class that really emphasized community as well. So in this class, you're talking, you're laughing, you're giggling, you're encouraging the other participants. So there's this huge sense of community. The music is beautiful. You've got your yoga, you've got challenges in the room with different postures or dancing that you kind of deal with on your own. And I feel like everything that you kind of experience in this class is things that will be helpful when you leave.
Yes.
So if I'm feeling challenged, do I know that I can push through? And I know I can because I just pushed through this asana, this posture in this class that I didn't think I could do, but I nailed it. But then I carry that with me. So I think there is just an internal process that happens in this class too that is super beneficial when you leave.
Yeah. I just want to say to the audience, if you guys can see how Gina just lit up when she started talking about Afroflow yoga, like that is like a testimony right there. She just perked up like all that energy. And when you go to an Afroflow yoga class, you do feel that level of energy. So it's not just the music, it's not just the dance, it's all of it together, being in community with other people and supporting our healing. It's just so uplifting and so joy filled. So Leslie, yeah, in terms of Afroflow yoga, I would love for you to share with the audience a little bit more about it and how they would be able to access it.
Yeah, thank you so much, and thank you, Gina and Kamani, because without you all, there would be no Afroflow yoga. It's a collaboration, and that's what I love about it. It's about sharing with others and bringing love into the space. So it's really, if you're listening to this, Afroflow yoga is made for you. So it really is made for everyone. Particularly our sisters and brothers of the diaspora. So we do retreats right now. We have a retreat coming up at Kripalu, which Gina is going to be assisting on. And if you ever get to Gina's classes in Connecticut or New York, we do have other teachers. We have Shiona Litta, who's teaching in Pennsylvania. And so Kripalu is in the Berkshires. That's coming up in October. And we're going to be in celebration, in deep, deep session, just giving so much joy and love and healing. It's over a full moon. It's going to be really beautiful. And then we have what I'm really excited about. And every year we go to Costa Rica, and we are in with the monkeys and the mountains and the ocean and the sunshine. And like, it's like so amazing to be in circle with everyone with the drumming. So that's going to be in February is our 15th year anniversary. It's February 11th to the 18th. So I hope y'all can come. That would be amazing. And so right now with because we are getting out of COVID, we used to have classes at Alvin Ailey in New York, and also here I'm not in Boston right now, but I will be in Boston in a few days. That's where my husband and I live. And so I would say go to the website. We also have virtual classes. Actually, Kamani, we met you virtually.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
That was
And
amazing.
to have it virtually and then to be in person, it's like, wow. Like, yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. So we're virtual, and that's how we met and we connected. So there's a, believe it or not, I know people are like, oh, Zoom, I'm so tired of Zoom. But with the live music, and there is a way. So hopefully you can come try it virtually, and then
Yeah.
we can be in person, maybe somewhere beautiful.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
what do you think?
I'm all in. I'm all in.
Yeah.
And Leslie, can you tell the audience just a little bit if they're interested in being a part of the teacher training program, which I'm a part of? So full disclosure. So I would love to have you share that too.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kamani. So, just a little bit of background of Afro Flow Yoga. It was really founded as my husband Jeff and I, who've been married for 26 years, wanted to learn more about our ancestry. So we have 4 modules, and the first module, anyone can do it, even if you don't want to be a teacher, you're not interested. But if you want to deepen your connection to your ancestors, to your joy, to who you are, to your essence, to your DNA, to all that gut instinct that you have, that you're like maybe second guessing, and you come to this 8-week program, it reconnects you to the roots of a tree. I call it the roots of the tree of humanity, like really, really reconnecting you to that. And then we have that Kamani came in the summer. We did modules 2 and 3 where we were in person, and we were actually learning how to do the flow. It's done in a circle. It has a particular structure to it. And then we have a module 4, which is where you do your practice teaching. So we were fortunate to have Gina come through and some really amazing teachers, and now with Kamani. So if you come, you'll be in good hands. And so, yeah, so hopefully you can join us.
Yes, please join. Please join. It's incredible. It is incredible. It's like African dance and yoga, and you're just moving, and then the music. Jeff is just phenomenal. Leslie's husband is phenomenal with the music, and it's magical. It's magical. So as we're winding down, again, I want to say to the audience, thank you for tuning in. I want to say thank you to my guests, Leslie and Gina, for tuning in and participating on our part 2 of our conversation. And so again, this is the kickoff of the Black Women We Deserve Joy 5-day challenge. It's all free. So remember what we talked about today, that breath, going outside, being in community with others. These are all free things that we can do. And we need to make sure we are filling up our well. We have to make sure we're doing that. And so I want us to all remember that and really commit to engaging in our joy activities. Remember, for the next 4 days, you're going to be monitoring your joy level on a scale from 1 to 10. So 1 is like, I'm super low, not feeling too much joy today, to 10, I'm really on fire. And it's really a way for us to really reconnect to ourselves, so we're not that disconnected because we're doing all this stuff. It's important for us to be centered in ourselves as well. So again, I want to thank everyone for tuning in today. The registration link is in the chat section, and I'll put that again. And Afroflow Yoga, if you want more information about that, the website is in the chat area as well. So I wish everyone well, and I will see you guys for the next live. I will send out a broadcast to those of you who've registered, so you'll know when I go live, and you'll also get a replay of the previous day. So have a good rest of your day and take care. Leslie, Jean, if you guys can stay on. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you, Kamani. Thanks everyone for
Yes,
tuning.
yes, yes.